And thanks for staying with us. The eco-conscious citizens has petitioned the Inspector General of Police to consider dedicating a hotline to people who wish to lodge complaints about noise pollution this festive season. Joining us in studio now is coordinator of the group, Awula Sawa, and of course we'll be getting into the details of that petition shortly. But first on your screens is a copy of that petition that we know of that's been sent to the Ghana Police Service, raising a number of concerns, and you see that pointing out clearly petition for the police to enforce noise laws, and it reads that the eco-conscious citizens are appealing to you to use your good office to ensure that noise laws are enforced at all times and that we have a peaceful Yuletide free from noise pollution. Now, noise nuisance is a criminal offense, and enjoying the season should not be seen as an excuse to break the law and reduce the quality of life of fellow citizens. Businesses can make money without inflicting noise pollution on their patrons and neighbors. The current noise level in many parts of the country, from churches, drinking sports, social events, commercial announcements, event centers to restaurants, hosting live bands in residential areas, is often unbearable, and noise pollution damages our health and causes noise-induced hearing loss, and it can also cause high blood pressure, heart disease, sleep disturbances. You also have the issue of stress, and it also reduces productivity. In addition, noise pollution can push law-abiding citizens to take action, which can have life-changing consequences. An example is the recent shooting of a father and a son in Brooklyn, America, by a neighbor allegedly driven over by the edge of noise pollution. So these are some of the concerns being raised in the statement. Fortunately, Awula Sawa is joining us in studio for a discussion on this. And Awula, thank you for spending some time with us here on the polls. The point about the festive season, and we know that so well, that a number of concerts are lined up right from next week all throughout the rest of the year and then into the new year. But how can we really check this? Even before we get to the aspect of law enforcement, the point about personal responsibility, what's your expectation in terms of how we can check this?
Well, my personal expectation is that all individuals do their best to abide by the law. By all means, enjoy yourself. By enjoying yourself isn't a license to inflict pain on other people. There are people who are not well, there are people who are ill, and enjoy yourself, but be mindful of the noise levels. And we are saying that all through the year, we've received so many complaints by individuals from churches, event centers, drinking bars, so on and so forth. And unfortunately, the three agencies who are supposed to enforce noise abatement laws, the police, the municipal assemblies, and the EPA, unfortunately, they don't seem to be doing enough to ensure that the citizens have a peaceful time, and this is just not right.
There's the question as to whether or not we could ever get used to this. Can we ever get used to the level of noise in the national capital?
Well, we're not supposed to get used to crime. What needs to happen is that the proper levels should be observed. I mean, if an armed robber breaks into your house, nobody should get used to it. But you see, when you are assaulting people with noise, it's tantamount to assaulting them with your noise. It's not something that you should tolerate. It should be stopped. So there's enforcement. Enforcement is the best way of ensuring that we have peace. And let's be absolutely clear, it's not just a preference. It's not just about your ears. It also can give you, as the doctors have told us, high blood pressure, cardiovascular disease, and so on and so forth. And that's the reason why every last Wednesday of April, we have International Noise Awareness Day. And the idea is to raise awareness about the damaging effects of noise pollution.
And for quite some time now, a lot of people have not seen this as crime or, violating the laws. They feel, well, if I have the speakers, they should, boom very, very loudly.
Well, you see, if you're an event center and you want to make noise and harm your health and the health of those who've come to you, make your place soundproof. And all we are saying that those who have not come to your establishment should not be assaulted and their health should not be affected by your noise. If you are driving, would you like your driver to be somebody who hasn't slept because of noise pollution? Maybe that's why we have so many accidents. And our main concern is that we seem to be allergic to enforcement. It's not just when it comes to noise.
Right.
It comes to building regulations. People build anywhere, mangroves, waterways, and the authorities just watch idly. They do, in most cases, nothing about it. So when we are talking about the environment, we are concerned about the environment, not just about illegal mining, but we're also concerned about air pollution, noise pollution, so that we can all have a clean, green, healthy, and serene environment. There's a reason why we're put in the Garden of Eden, which was, by all description, a peaceful, green place, not a noisy place with boom, boom, boom from dawn to dusk.
And so this statement that you've sent to the Ghana Police Service and by extension the IGP, what's the demand really?
Well, we want, first of all, the IGP, we are respectfully asking that he educates police officers. We've had several instances where residents who are being bombarded with excessive noise. Let's say it's 10 p.m.
Right.
The EPA will not be open. The assemblies will not be open. The only agency that's open is the police service. They are open 24 hours a day.
Right.
You go there, and then some of the officers will tell you that this is not a criminal offense. They don't seem to be aware of Section 2968 of the Criminal Offences Act. So we want the IGP to educate them. Recently, we had somebody suffering from noise pollution going to Dansoman Police Station. According to him, he gave the name of the officer. I really don't want to call his name out.
Right.
But he told him that he wouldn't take the complaint. And this is wrong. Somebody is suffering from noise pollution. We don't want to drive people to the state that they will take the law into their own hands. So we want the police, first of all, to be educated that it's a criminal offense, to do something about it, stop the offense from taking place, enforce the laws. That is what we are asking, especially during this festive season where people think it's a license to behave anyhow.
And the irony of the case is that all of these events sort of have some level of police protection.
Well, not always. I mean, you have people holding parties in their homes.
Yes.
A lot of the nightclubs don't have police protection necessarily. But yes, it is true that you have police officers sometimes passing by, hearing the noise, and it's quite clear that it's excessive and doing nothing about it. But I said it's not just about noise. Sometimes you're driving in town, if I see somebody going through a one-way, and sometimes the police just watch on as if this is something that they can't do anything about. So I keep on saying that we seem to have an allergy when it comes to enforcement, not just noise nuisance laws.
Why do you feel there's this sort of neglect about this issue of noise pollution as compared to, the usual sanitation issues that we have and the other problems that everybody keeps advocating for and, talking about? Why are we not, fixated on the issue of noise pollution and the potential harm it could cause to our health?
Well, first of all, maybe it's a bit of I don't want to use the word, but maybe a bit of ignorance. Maybe the doctors should be more forceful in letting us know that hearing loss is a bad thing. Not being able to hear what's going on around you, it puts you at a disadvantage.
Right.
But there are worse things that could happen to you. You could have a heart attack. So the doctors should speak out more, because maybe people are ignorant and they sort of think, oh, it's just noise. But the number of people who have complained to us because the relevant authorities are not taking any notice shows that so many people are bothered about noise pollution. And it's about time the authorities did something. But let me say that and keep on repeating that it's not just noise pollution. You have building regulations. You're building a house, you're supposed to have a place of convenience. How many houses do we find that don't have any places of convenience? And people use whether plastic bags, whatever, and the inspectors do nothing. You can do an audit, go around houses, and you can find out those that, first of all, don't even have building permits, and then those that don't have places of convenience, and that's causing a real danger to people. But we seem as a country to just look idly by until maybe the person has offended somebody, and then maybe we will come down with the law. But we are saying that enforce laws at all times. The environment is not just about galamsey, it's also about noise and the air that we breathe.
And we need to also point out that this is not the first time you're raising this concern. I think earlier this year there was a similar concern or petition to the IGP. So it's not just a December or a Christmas challenge.
No, it's all year round. And I must say that the IGP did do something about it, because one of the borough commanders called us for a meeting. He had received a circular from the IGP. So some people have been responsive. Others are still not taking it seriously. And what it is that causing a lot of pain to residents. So yes, we commend the IGP. He has started, but there's still a lot of work to do. And we are asking for a dedicated number, just like you have a number for the
How would you want that work?
Well, we want a number that residents can call. It's 2 a.m. It's 11 p.m. There's noise pollution. We need to be able to call a number, and the response team will come and deal with the situation. Because, it's not something that we should take for granted. All year round, we are bombarded with noise pollution from these establishment churches who seem to think that God is deaf. Some of them are just charlatans, because when you read the Bible, it's the prophets of Baal who are making so much noise. You're praying to God. What is the reasoning for screaming as if God were dead? We're deaf. Just pray and make sure that your noise is not causing offense. Because what you could be doing is putting people off the gospel by the way you behave without showing brotherly love to people who are trying to catch some sleep.
Okay, and once more, let's touch on the issue or the aspect of personal responsibility, because once again, even without the police, that's the fastest way of dealing with all of these challenges. Having respect for your neighbor and just assuming how you also feeling when you are making all of these noise. Do you feel that people are conscious of this, are aware of this, and how do we reverse
A lot of people are selfish, and there's a saying that says that people do what you expect them to do. Yes, there are some people, like I'm sure yourselves, who are law-abiding. You don't need a policeman to do what is right. There are some people who are like that. But you see, mind you, even if there are 10 people and only one person is making noise, that's 1%. That person is going to disturb everybody. Right. So the best way of making sure that people live up to their social responsibility is, for heaven's sake, enforce the laws. Laws are not supposed to decorate statute books. They're supposed to be enforced. And it's not a question of not putting a human face. It's a question of there's a reason why we took the trouble to pass laws, regulations, bylaws, and for heaven's sake, enforce them. The EPA has made several announcements, I think even last year, that they were going to patrol and so on and so forth. We don't really know what came out of it, because those who are suffering are still suffering. We need the EPA to tell us what happens to complaints that are made. When they have the enforcement, what exactly are they enforcing? Because people are fed up. People are dreading this festive
and speaking
season.
of the EPA, what more should be expected of them this period, knowing that this is also a Christmas or a festive season where a lot more of the concern you're raising will come up? We've not seen any policy lineup or program that seeks to suggest that they will be doing something about noise pollution in these times.
Well, I know that the EPA head made some pronouncements a few months ago about asking the communities to work together with them regarding pollution, including noise pollution. But for that to happen, they need to know that when they make complaints, the complaints are taken seriously. I've got so many instances, again, I don't want to put it on air, where the enforcement team has been called, specific persons have been called, and they have done absolutely nothing according to the reports I've written. I also have my own complaints. Right. So what we are saying is that the EPA should rise up to its responsibilities. Noise pollution is a criminal offense. The EPA has a mandate to deal with noise pollution. For instance, before you set up a church or these establishments, there's supposed to be an environmental assessment. So once you haven't done that, you are operating unlawfully. Half of these churches and establishments or event centers don't even have licenses. The EPA could close them down. The EPA has teeth. They need to let Ghanaians know that they are serious about enforcing regulations, not only on noise, but all the regulations that they are able to
But in some areas, the difficulty about planning and layout of the community. When you go to some of the residential areas, obviously, you could easily identify the source of the noise or isolate the area and then, get the culprit. But that would not be possible, close to impossible in some, close to impossible in some of the communities, in layouts that have, you might want to call them slums. It will be a challenge identifying the culprits in those areas.
Oh, you see, where there's a will, there's always a way. And even in the areas where there's no challenge, again, next time I come, I'll name and shame. Right. But in this particular case, I'm not doing that. Right. There are establishments in Laboni, in so many different Jowulu, so many different areas where the culprits are clear. Yeah. The establishments are clear. Complaints have been made. The only thing that needs to be done is action taken, and no action is being taken. The complainants just keep complaining, and the relevant authorities, whether the assemblies, the EPA, do absolutely nothing. They warn the noisemakers. Warning them is not enough. You can close them down. Once you close them down, others will begin to understand that Ghana is a country where laws are enforced. But as it is, it seems like you can do exactly what you want to do once you're well connected.
We need to go. If there's anything our audience need to know about noise pollution and perhaps the leadership of the Ghana Police Service, what do you want to leave everyone with?
Noise pollution harms your health and also reduces productivity. Do not tolerate it. Make the complaints. If it needs eventually taking individuals to court for dereliction of duty, so be it. But please do not tolerate damage to your health. Noise pollution damages our health. And we appeal to the IGP to educate officers, let them know that noise pollution is a criminal offense, and let us have a dedicated number that we can call when there's noise pollution. Thank you.
And that's I will ask our national coordinator for the eco-conscious citizens joining us here on the Pulse.